Hello world, welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. And things are really heating up now, right? And I'd have to go back and look at some of my earlier videos, but I know I do a lot of commentary, on YouTube. I try to read, on my comments anyway. But I've also wrote papers in the past, and it's part of my art project. That's why my art project is still relevant as time goes on, because they were really not, portending necessarily, because it's just my factual analysis of the situation. But as I've been telling people, this is the big communist push, right? What people have to understand is there's operators in this world that have infiltrated the Democratic Party long ago. The Democratic Party, as I said in other videos, does not represent the American people, right? And that's why we find ourselves where we are today. Now, multiculturalism, it depends what you look at it. It's fine to have, they'll push the culinary arts and other things that people can appreciate. But when it comes to the culture and the laws and how they're enforced and who has the power is a whole different story. So when you see all of these thousands of people protesting in the streets to kill babies, whether it's feminists who want to kill children in the womb, or these killers, that beheaded these children in front of their own parents. What kind of animals are these people, right? And any one of you that's going to try to still try to protect some kind of idea of Palestine, you don't understand nothing, right? One thing's for sure, right, is that the Old Testament, right, it was basically stories about, the wars between the Jews and other factions, Sea Peoples and all of them, right? And the Philistines. And I guess they're saying the Philistines are these Palestinian people. And the Jewish people just keep beating them back, right? The thing is when Rome defeated the Jews, right, a lot of Jews moved out into Europe and things of that nature. And it still perplexes me why they're hated so much. I've been on this earth 63 years. I can't see any reason in history or otherwise other than the perpetuation of lost battles, right, to hate Jews, right? They're just a people like anybody else. The Palestinians are a people, but they lost the wars, 1,000 years ago. They just keep losing, and it's not about good. It's about winning, right? And it's about Islam versus Abraham, really. If people think Islam is part of the Abrahamic religion, so be it. I'm a Christian man, right? But my belief system is different, right? I am not a Catholic. A lot of rituals and things of that nature, Christ did not introduce. These are things that men created, and they've used Christ. So, there's a lot of blame to go around. And I wrote a paper on this as part of my art project, where I explained that these potentates use these spiritual toolbox in order to elevate themselves above other people. That's how you get kings talking to God. And they were put on this earth by God, right? This is all a product of old history, thousands and millennia ago, right? And the Jews documented a lot of it, and that became the Bible, right? And then, of course, Christ is the New Testament. And then Muhammad, he is really a warrior. There's nothing good about what he has to say. They're all lying to you, right? Look at the output. Look at their legal system, how they treat human beings. There is no mercy. These people don't understand mercy, right? I mean, so I can't see how anybody can say they're an extension of the Abrahamic philosophy, because Christian philosophy certainly is not one of death and destruction or forcing people to believe in you. Christ is the template of my soul, because I take that willingly, the philosophy of it. And by following that philosophy, it has made me a stronger person. By rejecting temptation, you can make your mind stronger, right? And you can make your body healthier, right? You follow the beast. It's just, for me, like I said before, it's a metaphor. The beast is the metaphor for the body. The philosophy of Christ is the way of living, a path of spiritual and moral development. Islam is not a path of spiritual and moral development. It is a philosophy of domination, right? Of servitude of other people to them, right? It's wrong. There is nothing about that comes from the same God of the Jews and of Christians. There's nothing there of that. They just take things and he writes a book, but Muhammad was a warrior, and that's why these guys are warriors. They are following what Islam is in their minds. So they're killing, it's all part of their brainwashing, right? I mean, I'm a Christian man. How are you there's no way you're going to take me off my path and make me believe that somehow what these guys are doing are the right thing. Now, in a lot of wars, even Vietnam, you name them, you get psychopaths and everything. And when a guy's a psychopath in an army, you're going to get rapes. You're going to get civilian murders and shit. And we, as American soldiers, hold them accountable. We don't tolerate that shit. Right? That's the difference between a Christian soldier and an Islamist soldier. That's the bottom line. You cannot believe that, but look at the product. What are you seeing? What you choose to believe, right? There's so many Christian men and Jewish men that are probably going to die now, trying to save people they can't save, right? Protecting people who voted these guys in that killed all these people. But what's going to happen now is Iran's on the block, right? And their whole strategy, this globalist takeover of the world to subjugate us all, look at what they do. They want to take away food. For some reason, it's like some kind of cult of death, right? They really believe that, they're going to be cheated out of the future because we exist and there's too many of us. So they come up with this global plan, right, of domination. They created the CCP, and they did it too fast, right? A lot of their shit don't work. Not like you think it is, right? We got 2 carrier groups in the Mediterranean. That's 2 cities, right? Plus we got subs probably hanging around, right? We got Marines. That's an army. Listen, these Iranians are in big trouble, big trouble. But the plan was they figured they would exhaust us in Ukraine first, right? Sucker us in there, bog us down, right? The thing is, these Europeans got to take care of their own back, yeah? That's what Donald Trump was telling them, because he sees this stuff coming. He's got access to information, right? He sees it. No, we're not going to do this war, man. No, this ain't happening, dude. Don't worry. We're not going to do this. They go after Trump. They force the war. These globalists. And the commie Dems are part of it because they're getting paid by international investors to subvert our government, which is the people. They're really subverting the people. When you buy senators, like Menendez and, Biden and all these guys are all the same. They've been selling us down the hole for a long time. That's why we don't win wars. We're so fucking powerful, we could just destroy an entire country. We just don't do it. And all these other people just don't, in the world, these don't understand how much power we have. And they're going to have to find that out now, because Biden ain't going to run shit if Congress declares war on Iran. 2 carrier groups. China, really, they just stuck their neck out, didn't they, with the COVID? Yeah. They stuck their neck out with their communist policies by telling their population not to have children. So they got all these dudes, right? All these dudes go to Africa, impregnate all these African women and leave them fatherless children. These people are terrible, these communists. They don't respect human life. They're not on a spiritual path of moral development or spiritual development. They don't conceive of that path. It's all about their own demagoguery, the power within their structure, right? All the empires of China were all about dominating the public into submission. Brutal, merciless killings, right? This is the way that these people, these cultures are. And if you don't study them, you can't understand them. They're not like us. They're not like Christian men, right? They're not, right? They're just not. You know, and until you realize that, you're not going to see their schemes. You're not going to be able to point out. You know, you have to look at outcomes. You have to step aside like you're some alien from another planet and look at the outcomes and see who's benefiting by these things. And I've been watching this world my whole life. Maybe I have a reason to do that. Maybe I just love life. I mean, you know, it's a miracle. But anyways, whatever the case is, I'm telling you what's going to happen now. And I've been telling people that this was going to happen. 20 years ago, I wrote in the papers about China. Sitting back, watching us, you know, mess around with the Middle East while they're building this army. I told everybody, this is not a mystery to me, right? Because these central bankers bankrupted all the political parties. They own them, right? And they leverage these political parties against the populace. So they put a lien on a whole country. Now, Britain owed us, I mean, you know, for World War II, right, or whatever it is. It took them a long time to pay us off, right? The American public. But that's different. You know, I'm talking about people like the Rothschilds funding Napoleon. All of these other actors in the background, the average human being don't even know exist. How long they've been around and how they make their money on these wars. A lot of them do, right? And they always survive the war, right? Except for the real bad actors, right? But they're not, Napoleon was being funded by the Rothschilds, right? He wasn't going to pay nothing back. And if you hang him, or you put them on an island and expel them, or whatever the case is, it don't matter. The French people got to pay reparations for that. And it was the same thing after World War I. And that's why the Germans got so nasty, because the Brits and everybody else wanted reparations. They wanted money back for all the damage the Germans did to them, right? They didn't give them any mercy. And then they got World War II for that. Right? But these people are still around. These people outlast the wars. And they outlast political strife. It's just what they do. They're the real people that run this world. Because they know how to use their political wealth to manipulate men to their will. That's why good men, good-willing Christian men all get crushed a lot. Right? But anyways, so this is what I was telling people. So they trying to exhaust that weaponry. We got to hold our powder against Ukraine. That's what I'm saying. Hold your powder, hold your powder. This is what they want. We got to let Europe step up and deal with it, right? And then they're going to flash up the Middle East, right? Try to bring us there, right? And this is what they did. Iran's been causing all of this problems, wearing us down little by little, right? And now we are where we are. And the Chinese sit back there and they go, oh, this is great. The United States can't handle all of this. We're going to defeat them, right? Then they get with Canada and Trudeau. Trudeau's, oh, chummy with Che or whatever. Che looks at him like a dog. Right, but Trudeau lets all of this air power come over North America, scan out everything, and then Biden lets them take a balloon down no man's land in the middle of our country. Right? I mean, what? You're not seeing this, you're not putting this together now? That the Chinese could come down from the north, hit us in the middle of our country. Right? We need to draft. We need to start bolstering up this continent from an invasion from China. If you don't think, I don't think they're going to take a knee like the Soviets. The Soviets were more from really Western civilization. It was just, the headiness, and the intellectual takes over these people, and they think they can really run humanity. They don't understand the genetic variation that exists among us, that psychopaths are born every day. They're not created other than in the womb. Some elevate themselves to psychopathy, and you get, Hitler, and these guys really, listen, if you don't have any moral conscience, this is what happens. These are animals. They can't elevate themselves beyond all their own demagoguery, their own feelings, their own beyond narcissism. It's some kind of spiritual godliness within them that they feel. Almost like a schizophrenic, who has these ideations of being godly, right? Except they're megalomaniacs. They're not, schizophrenics, but they believe they are godly. All of them. And that they have a right to dominate the rest of us and destroy us. Right? But they're going up against the free man now. Free men will fight because we have private property. I worked my whole life and I'm just barely getting by now. But I worked for that, right? Why wouldn't I want to protect that? That's why free men elevate themselves. And they, because they have to compete and they want to protect their assets. But the Christian man ain't going to go to the point where they're going to kill somebody else to get something from them. That's not Christian, right? It's your path of development. You have to elevate yourself, make yourself stronger. Use that neuroplasticity up here to develop your mind. It could take years of development, right? And you might not make a lot of money, but eventually it'll make you a better person. I really believe that, unless you have a personality disorder. If you're a normal person and you work on this, and you educate yourself, your eyes will be open to all of this. It will. Right? So the Chinese are sitting back there thinking, we're going to exhaust ourselves with all these little battles. Right? So now we get hit on the border when Biden gets elected. Right? The globalists open up the border. They flood us with all these people. What's our response going to be? They're sitting back hitting us every which way they can. First, we got hit from COVID. Right? That's biological warfare. I don't care. Listen, whatever. Like I said, outcomes, people. Forget about getting in the minds of these people. That doesn't matter. Outcome. COVID. China. CCP. Death around the world. The economy crashes. Why? Trump beating them up, holding them accountable. Again, this is why Trump's getting attacked. I mean, because he's saying no. We can't do this. I love my country, right? That's why all of this is happening to him. This Commie Dem party is unconstitutional now. They're fighting the American people. They're bringing war to this land. And don't think it ain't going to happen. Get yourself ready for it. Because China's going to sit back there. And if Iran, what I heard today was, they're saying, hey, if Israel goes into Gaza, we're going to war. Well, then, that's the end of Iran. They're all done. Right? And we got 9 other carrier groups. And listen, these women they had on Fox News, this other guy saying we only have one, that Gerald R. Ford is the only nuclear-powered carrier. That's a lie. We have 11 carrier groups. They're all nuclear-powered. We don't run them with diesel. Right? We run other ships. We might be running with diesel. But not our those are fucking cities, man. We carry the fuel for our aircraft and other boats and shit. We run that city, right? We got 9 other carrier groups. 9. Right? Plus we got, you know how many subs we got? They're all nuclear-powered subs. They're all up under there. Who's watching those? Oh my God. You want to talk about that? Listen, Iran is done. They're going to prostrate themselves. That's what's going to happen. But what's going to happen as a product of that, the oil's going to stop flowing to the CCP. The money's already stopped flowing to the CCP. Everything is falling apart in China. Even their own citizens are seeing how much of a scam all that real estate was played on them by the CCP. The buildings are falling apart. I mean, it's insane, the depravity of this political party and what it has done to the world. And, you know, they're not going to take a knee like the Soviets. Like I said, the Russian people, really, they a lot of them are Christians. A lot of them are Christians. You know, they know about Christ, and they try to live as Christian people. You know, and then Marx, whatever. You know, people do what they do. Political parties are the problem. The political parties take over, right? And and religious theocracies take over. We're the only country in the world of free men and women. That's it. We're the only ones that have a shot at making this world free for everyone, to develop republics like we have, right? Where you give power to the people in that area so they can figure out how to deal with their resources and commerce to the best of their abilities, right? And act accordingly and civilly, right? You know, what's wrong with that? You know, these guys in Gaza, they had that whole area they could have made something good out of. Why didn't they? Because they are bad. They were created to kill. That's why. And everybody that voted for them are just as guilty. If they can't see the evil among them, then hey, they can't blame, people for protecting themselves. But as a product of this war, right, if Iran steps in, that's it, right? Then China's not getting any oil. And they're going to be hurting way more then. They ain't got no nuclear carriers. They're limited. They got diesel. That's it. Right? They can't go around the world like we can. Right? It's bullshit. I don't care how many little fucking ships they got. You could set off one small tactical nuke and wipe them all out. I mean, that's all you need, right? I mean, it's nothing. And you want to do a lot more kinetic work, they don't stand a chance because our lethality, the number that we can take out versus the number they can take out at us, right? After World War II, It wasn't about manufacturing anymore. Like, how many Sherman tanks can we put against a Tiger tank? The Tiger tank was superior by far. But we put so many of them out there, they got overwhelmed, right? But after that, it was about lethality. How much lethality can you extract from a platform, right, on the enemy, right, with fewer people at risk? I mean, if you could take down 1,000 dudes, and only lose like 50, that's a big outcome, right? And, you got, whatever the case is, it's a bad thing. War is a bad thing. And it shouldn't be looked at like that. But that's the way you have to manage a war. And that's why women should never send men into battle. I just don't agree with that. It's a man thing. It's a terrible thing. Women have a role in war, and it should be one of nourishing and healing and trying to help the people that are suffering, right? And things like that. But they got to leave the killing to the men. I'm a Christian man. I don't want the females to have their minds damaged by that. That's just way too much. It's enough for them to know what's going on, but to be involved with it, they manified all our females anyway in the West, but these women have no comprehension. They just don't get it. This isn't television, right? So when that oil stops flowing to the CCP, right, the money's already stopped, basically. Then what's the CCP going to do? Now, the whole Chinese people are on the block because of one political party. Again, a political party. Just like Hamas, Hezbollah is a political party, an extension of Iran. A theocracy. These are theocracies which are basically, let's just call them political parties for the sense of argument. They do the same thing. Our political parties are private political parties. They're not the government. Anybody could start a political party, right? The Whigs got taken over, right? Why can't we get rid of the Democrats and the Republicans? Why can't we start a new party? Trump got 74 million votes. He's got money. That's why they want to take his money away. Again, to stop him. Vivek's got money, right? We're the rich guys that believe in Christian values. Judeo-Christian law, and a justice system that treats everybody equally so that we can resolve our civil disputes, right? I got a right to go to court and sue and be sued, right? Nobody's got a right to, screw my life over. I got a right to redress the wrong, right? But if your system is not a Judeo-Christian one of blind justice or whatever, you can't do that. Even our system is the best justice system there is, even though it's being seriously corrupted. That's why I started Lawyer Wars. And, I'm bringing something again. And I'll be talking about that later. But these people pressing me, right? I'm not a clown, right? I'm a serious person. I see what's going on around me. And if I don't understand it, right, then, people need to come up front. And I'm going to force that. But anyways, so China's not going to get any oil. So whatever they got now that Biden sold to him, that's why he's a traitor on that. Because China's stocking up for war. And he sold a lot of our oil. He transferred oil reserves from our military to the CCP's military. Right? That's not the PRC's military. That's the CCP's military. That's a political party's military, just like the Nazis were, the army was you understand? The army was an arm of the political party. They just took the citizens, but the Nazis ran everything. And it's the same thing with all these other people, the CCP. And then the regular citizen, 90% of them, they just want a decent life and get along. Right, are the ones that gotta suffer because they're gonna be enlisted to fight people they don't want to fight, And then a lot of civilians are going to die that don't want any part of any of this. But that's not anybody, it's not our fault. And I'm not going to tolerate anybody telling me, listen, I fought the communists, I fought the Soviets, right? I don't give a, listen, I don't got to tell nobody, none. I don't care to. What I'm saying is, that ain't happening here without a fight. Because even after I'm dead, the men that live here are free men. And they'll fight for their freedom when push comes to shove. And guys like Biden are going to, and Obama are going to go down in history as globalists, not Americans. And their globalist principles they used against the American people. They are the ones that try to overthrow this country. Yes, look at the output. Obama gave Iran all that money. And now we got $6 billion on the block. That's credit. That's what that is. However you want to look at it, that's credit. All kinds of dirty money moves around this world, right? And there's people that'll give them money because they know that $6 billion is credit. That's how the world works. Well, they're not moving freaking gold, but they're working on credit and favors, right? And contracts and things of that nature. That's how we can cut money off from these other countries, right? Because they're part of this system of credit, right? And how the money moves around. And again, I don't mean to get off track. This has been a long video, but I mean, this is just getting me going. So China's got a decision to make. The Soviets took a knee, and they decided to be more civil and not destroy the world, right? And the Russian, right now, the Russian Federation is not the Soviets. This whole thing that's a whole nother story. I got to wrap this up. But what I'm saying is if we go to war with Iran, China's going to war with us. They're going to try to take Taiwan or they're going to invade the homeland. Because the whole idea was to weaken us. Because they think they can beat us. And the globalists put all this money in their pocket. And that's why they made... Just like oil. Giving oil, when they discovered oil. Hey, us, we discovered it. We just want to do commerce with you. And then the Muslims get all this money and they create armies to kill off Christians and Jews. Why? It's insane, man. It's just ridiculous, right? But that's where we are. So prepare for it, right? Because unfortunately, I do believe China's going to make a move. I don't think they're going to take a knee. I think they're going to make the world fight. And we're already in a world war. It's just progressing. Because all these other bad actors that have been talking, like Iran, Russia, and China, and other bad actors, believe that they together can overcome us. Right? God save us all. Until next time, think free, be free, and eat free.